Every country in the world dreams of finding vast resources beneath its soil. But for Venezuela, which holds the world's largest oil reserves, this black gold has become a devastating curse instead of a blessing. So today's conversation turns to how Venezuela, one of the richest countries in the world, fell into poverty. Number 1. Geological fortune and oil resources like Tar Venezuela is a country blessed with unlimited natural resources. The world's largest oil reserves are not in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Russia, or the United States. Simply put, even if you put the oil reserves of both Russia and the United States together, Venezuela has more oil. But there is a small problem here. Their oil is in the form of heavy crude oil. This is not just liquid oil that comes out of the ground. It is a very thick substance like molten tar. Refining this is very complicated. The United States built its refineries in a way that it could refine this thick oil. This was a great advantage for Venezuela at first, because the United States could not do without this oil. But the multilateral fortune itself later became their curse because they mistakenly understood that this oil resource was the only weapon they could use to win the world. Number 2. The Golden Age, from 1920 to 1970. In the 1920s, the discovery of oil near Maracaibo Lake changed Venezuela's fortunes overnight. From a poor country based on agriculture, Venezuela became one of the richest countries in the world. Between 1940 and 1960, their economic output grew by 1,000-fold. They received so much money that the government could not even imagine how to spend it. Modern cities were built, large cities were formed. People's living standards improved. In the 1970s, the Arab-Israeli war caused oil prices to skyrocket on the world market. But Venezuela became even richer. They used the strategy of reducing production and selling oil at a higher price. This was a time when they were like a tree in the palm of their hand. Number 3. Dutch disease and lack of diversification. Now, we will explain the most important part of this video. So listen carefully. Venezuela is suffering from a disease called Dutch disease in economics. That is, a country is suffering from a single resource. For example, when a country receives a lot of money from oil, other industries in that country, such as the agricultural sector, manufacturing, etc., are affected. The Venezuelan government thought that if we can sell oil and import everything from abroad, why should we build industries within the country? Because of this, even though their currency was strong, domestic production fell to zero. In the end, they had to import everything from abroad. Number 4. Hugo Chávez's socialist ideals and populism. In 1999, Hugo Chávez came to power as the savior of the poor. Fortunately for him, the price of a barrel of oil had reached $100. Chávez spent billions of these unlimited oil revenues on social welfare programs. He provided free healthcare, housing, and education. This seemed to lift millions of people out of poverty. But all this happened only because the price of oil was high. Instead of strengthening the economy, Chávez distributed the money he received. Although he launched an anti-imperialist war against the United States, his country's economy remained in shambles. And the fact that it was only oil sold to the United States was a big joke. Number 5. The collapse of oil prices and the arrival of Maduro. After Chávez's death, when Nicolas Maduro came to power, the world situation had changed. By 2014, the price of oil on the world market had suddenly collapsed from $100 to $50 per barrel. Venezuela's government received 95% of its revenue from oil. Their spending was completely ruined. Maduro had 2 difficult decisions to make. Either he had to cut the budget and reform the economy, or he had to continue doing things the old way. So Maduro chose the second path. He continued to print money. Government corruption skyrocketed. Instead of providing the oil industry with the modern technology it needed, he gave control of it to his own people. Eventually, oil production fell to zero. Number 6. Overexcitement and money falling into the trash. The biggest mistake the Maduro government made in Venezuela was to print more money when it ran out of money. Did you know that when you print more money, money loses its value? It lost so much value that people had to carry 2 bags of money to buy a loaf of bread. Inflation was estimated to be in the millions. People threw their money on the streets. Because a pen had become more valuable than a piece of paper, people could not even buy 3 eggs with their monthly salary. In fact, it became one of the most unsuccessful chapters in world history regarding economic development, adding a huge black spot to Venezuela. Number 7. The Great Migration. 9 million people left the country, the economy collapsed, and food and medicine shortages spread throughout the country. Hospitals were without electricity. This left the Venezuelan people with only one solution. That was to leave the country. Within a few years, more than 9 million people left Venezuela and walked to countries like Colombia, Brazil, and the United States. This was the largest refugee crisis in the history of the United States. The country's former educated people, engineers, and lawyers all left the country, which plunged the country into further poverty. Even today, the people who remain in Venezuela live only on the dollars of their relatives abroad. Number 8. US sanctions and the Monroe Doctrine. The situation in Venezuela worsened with the imposition of US sanctions, which accused Maduro of rigging the 2018 election. The US wanted to remove Maduro from power. They stopped buying Venezuelan oil. Here, the US used the old law called the Monroe Doctrine. That is, if a foreign power like Russia, China, or Iran interferes with the US mainland, the US will take military or economic action against it. Since Maduro was friendly with America's enemies, Russia and China, the US began to consider Venezuela as its enemy. Number 9. Alliance with Russia, China, and Iran. When America marginalized him, Maduro brought America's enemies into his country. He received weapons and intelligence from Russia. He received large-scale loans from China. He received the technology and equipment needed to refine oil from Iran. As a result, Venezuela became a puppet war of world powers, or rather, a place where proxy wars were fought. Maduro maintained his power not through love for the people, but through the cooperation of these foreign countries and by distributing oil money to his army. As a result, by 2025 to 2026, warships had begun to roam the Caribbean Sea. Number 10. Maduro is trapped. Venezuela is under American rule. The Maduro regime collapsed in January 2026, stunning the entire world. Nicolas Maduro, who was arrested by the US, is currently being held in the Brooklyn prison in the US. He has been charged with drug and corruption. US President Donald Trump has declared that the US will rule Venezuela until a suitable leader is found. The most crucial part of this is that the US will take over Venezuela's vast oil resources. While Maduro is demanding a democratic government, opposition leader Maria Corina Machado is preparing for power. While the people are happy, they are also deeply distrustful of the US's control of their country's resources. The biggest lesson we can learn from the story of Venezuela is that a country does not develop for the sake of having resources. This shows that without proper management, even if you sit on a mountain of gold, you can end up in poverty.